My friends, it is time for the kind of adventure that I most love playing in this game. We are in need of some rubies, some shards, some onyx, many other things, and also in need of an adventure. I really want to go out into the world of HyperRogue and play it the way that I fell in love with this game. So, we are going to head into a game of HyperRogue Classic, and we are playing on a new mouse that does not double-click. It might double mouse roll a little bit. I haven't really explored it, gotten used to it. Yeah, we shouldn't have any more of the double-clicking issues that I had been having in the past. And we're just going to go on an adventure. First thing we're going to do is get our ice diamonds, and now I want to think about how do I want to approach this. Because one of the things I wanted to play around with is what I call Snakebird strats, which is basically going for very high numbers in a lot of specific lands to create synergies, basically make orbs available that can be combined in useful ways. I think that for getting 20 rubies, that's not going to be especially necessary. The first thing we can do, the very first thing that is going to be very useful, is we can head into the Land of Eternal Motion, and we can grab some phoenix feathers, because this is going to be a multi-part adventure. I have not done a multi-part adventure in quite a while, but that was... I remember when I first started out Let's Playing this game, one of my really big goals was to have a multi-part adventure, and eventually it got to the point where every episode was a multi-part episode. And that was a lot of fun. You know, it was really cool. It's really cool thinking back to think about how for a long time, I played the game in a way that was limited. It was, I was not even doing one run per episode. I was like doing multiple runs per episode because they were so short, and I was game overing so quickly. And now I'm just so much more consistent, so much more knowledgeable about this game, and it's the kind of thing it's kind of really good to think about sometimes. I think there's a lot of things that we do that we don't realize how much progress we're making. I know that I often feel like I'm not making any progress at anything. And I feel like I'm not improving at anything. That's why my name is Spriteguard. It comes from the myth of the bird Jingwei, who was a girl who drowned in the sea and was reborn as a bird. And the bird flies around filling the sea with stones, and trying to fill up the entire sea with stones. And so that idea of doing something that seems impossible, that seems endless, and just having faith that you're making progress, and just knowing that if you keep doing it, you will make progress, that has been at the heart of so much of the things that I've done in my life. And it looks like we are going to be chased into this Alchemy Lab. I like that. Alchemy Lab is actually one of the lands where it can be very useful to get high treasure counts, because the Orb of Speed is extremely useful. One of the most powerful orbs in the game. So, I don't know how many I'm going to aim for here. I think probably 25. I have not really practiced getting large numbers here, and it can get pretty dangerous. So I do want to be a little bit thoughtful. We can control which of these slimes move and which ones don't, because they will only move if there is an available path. And so which groupings we're touching up against is going to determine which slimes are actually able to reach us, and that will determine which slimes move. So we have some strategic influence, some kind of larger scale tactical influence. And I think that making use of that is going to be really important. We are getting our kill count up, it looks like, because we are seeing a lot of treasures now. And we're also getting to the point where I want to start thinking about orb chaining, because that is a big part of the strategy in the Alchemy Lab, is finding an orb of speed and getting it, and then using that orb of speed to find another orb of speed. Because as the spawn rate gets higher and higher here, you're actually going to get more and more situations where the orb of speed is necessary for survival. Unfortunately, its spawn rate is not super high. And so... oh, there's one. Let's see if I can create a bridge over to it. There we go. Now make sure that I don't cover it. Grind out some kills while I'm here. You know, anything that I don't need the Orb of Speed for is probably worth doing. And then I think we want to generally cover distance. That's what's going to make it most likely to get an Orb of Speed before this one runs out, is just covering distance. And you can see we already have one right here, so looks like that theory is paying off right at the start here. We'll see how long that lasts. We don't want to cover up those treasures. I do want to be able to pick them up after we've finished with this combat. And now we are down to 15 charges. And so once again, covering ground. I do see an Orb of Speed over this way. We're not going to get to it before it runs out, but we're going to get there pretty close. And that is good enough. And then I see another, oh, okay, so they're spawning actually pretty frequently now. And I don't know if that's because we have a lot of treasures here. We do have prize orbs available now. It might be worthwhile to go for more prize orbs, or it might be worthwhile to leave. And in fact, I think we can do something a little bit interesting here. I don't actually know how slime and mines interact. And, you know, I don't know if this whole area has been safe this whole time. Like, what if we kill one over here? Okay, so yeah, so no mines next to me. So these guys are actually clearing mines away, because there was one there to begin with. So once we pick up this egg, we will have auto-clearing, which is really nice to have, even if we're not going for numbers here. Although having some birds on our side is always nice. Now, Hall of Mirrors is one of the places that we have to go. And so I'm going to pick up a couple more eggs, and then we will head over there. Because we need 20 treasures from here. This is another land where chaining is really important. Because these minions are the only way of getting rid of mirror spirits. And so we want to make sure that we have these mimics around. Because once those mirror spirits start showing up, or even once the narcissist spawn rate gets high enough, it's going to be something that we're not going to be able to take it on alone. And so one of the things that I kind of look for is not just can I pick this treasure up, but will I be able to make it to other treasures by doing that? And, you know, if I have a cluster of minions in one particular place, am I going to be able to make use of them before I get too far away from them? So there, I was able to make use of the mirror spirits in exactly the kind of way that I want to. Now, this is not a land where high numbers are particularly appealing, just because, you know what? I take that back. I have never experimented with having mimics in other lands as a prize orb. That could end up being very interesting. And we need 20 here. Now, I don't know if the difference between 20 and 25 is significant. It might be, it might not be. Anytime there's an opportunity to experiment with something that I've never really tried before, I want to be aware and try to take that opportunity. Because I know that that's something that I often dislike it when Let's Players don't take the opportunity to do something different. And you can see that Mirror Spirit just respawned right away, but... Ooh, whoops. Let's try and set this up. There we go. So that's that taken care of. So we only need 3 more. Let's see if we can find that before we head in here. And there's an Orb of Speed coming in clutch. And actually, I saw over here, what did I see over here? A Dry Forest, which is... I don't actually remember if we need 20 treasures from this land. But there's our 25th mirror. And we need to pick up another one in order to deal with this mirror spirit. There we go. That is the one issue with this land, spending significant amounts of time in this land, is you pretty much have to be picking up treasures the whole time. Now with the Dry Forest, I tend to take a little bit of a warehouser approach of just clearing everything away. And just making sure that I have lots of room here, because the Hedgehog Warriors have a big advantage over me in tight quarters, but I have an advantage over them in open areas. I can even kill 2 of them at once if the conditions are right and I'm in an open space. Fires also just spread more slowly. That is a rose garden. I do not know if we have 20 roses, but getting 20 roses is a pretty scary proposition. That's a very difficult land, and it's one that's actually quite difficult to stream because it involves a lot of counting. And I'm not really able to talk about anything or even think about anything other than keeping count. I'd like to take advantage of this Orb of Safety here. It's more useful in the Dry Forest than a lot of places, because it gets you out of fires. And so if a fire fairy shows up here, we will have a way of escaping from the forest fire, which is something that you usually don't have. And I have not done this in the most graceful way, but I was kind of hoping that we could like grab some more treasure somewhere, before we do this, but I don't think I'm going to be able to get to any of that and get back in time. So we'll just get out of the way, and we are safe. We've taken the Orb of Safety to our safety. This is another land. Haven't really explored it to high numbers. In fact, we can take a look at the overview. We are currently in the Dry Forest, and it looks like my high score there is 20. So we do have that unlocked. However, Orb of Thorns is one of the most powerful orbs in the game. I would say it is one of the best combat orbs, in my opinion. Because it can get you out of so many situations. This is dicey. I don't like this at all. Alright, so here's our first prize mirror. Wonder if we can get anything out of this. Need to clear some room around it first. It only gives us 3. And it looks like they will chop down small trees. They will destroy themselves on large trees and break them down into small trees. And things are getting pretty scary right now. We've got very quickly spreading fire. We've got a very high spawn rate. I would very much like to make it to this Orb of Thorns. I have made a mistake. I have made a big mistake. Let's see if I can fix it. And that is the beauty of Orb of Thorns. You can get out of so many situations this way. Both by fighting Hedgehog Warriors directly and by stabbing conventional... Oh my goodness, 20 new achievement, Forest Fairy. Collect 25 fern flowers. So apparently I've never done that before. So now we need to get out of here. And I'm not really keen on trying to get like a really high spawn rate for this orb. As useful as it is, I think we're in a lot of trouble and we need to take the very next exit that we see almost anywhere. Like, I think I'd probably even take a rose garden at this point. So I want to make sure that I can get through this safely. We do have this ocean here, and it looks like the tide is going out. And so I think this is our cue to head out to the ocean. And I don't know what we'll do there. I have not looked at the overview, what things we still need to unlock out here. But I don't see any boats. There's one. Okay, I didn't want to pick up an 11th treasure because sometimes my brain just does that. And so I saw that I could just barely make it to that boat. Wasn't even sure I could make it, but I knew I could make it back. I knew that if I was not able to make it to this boat, that I could make it back to the boat that had a treasure in it. Now, Caribbean is the crux of Snakebird strats. But we can't go there yet. We need a couple of other things from land. The things that we need are orbs of flash, so we need to get more ice diamonds, and we need orbs of space, so we need to get more red gems. There may be other things that could be useful. Orb of Storms, we do need 20 rubies, so Orb of Storms might be a really good thing to have. I don't even remember what the Brown Islands orb is. I know Orb of Water can be very useful from the Whirlpool. I don't really want to go in there because we are kind of getting towards the end of the episode, and the Whirlpool takes a really long time. And here is an Orb of Safety, so I think this is where we're going to take a break. So, next time, we still have a lot ahead of us. We still need to get a lot of treasures. We need more ice diamonds, we need rubies, and we probably need some other important things that we will have to think about as we go. So until then, thank you very much to my patrons on Patreon, and thank you very much to everyone who watches, comments, subscribes. All makes such a difference to me. And most of all, thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.